cars come back round onto the grid and form up. So Victor Martin on pole yet again. Franco Colapinto delighted to deliver right at the end of the session to go second. Paul Aron third, and Caio Collet both a little disgruntled that Colapinto got ahead of them at the end. Then David Vidales and Alex Quinn form up row 3. We get some of the very quickest rookies right at the sharp end of the field. FA Racing's Amaury Codil and Grégoire Saucy, a Belgian and a Swiss driver, share row number 4. Down to row 5, it's Hugo de Wilde from Belgium and William Alatallo, promising young Finnish racing driver. Youth Championship this weekend, Cas Havercourt, a Dutchman in a Dutch team with MP Motorsport, and a fellow Dutchman, Simon van der Helm, alongside him on row number 6. And the Czech racer Petr Petacek and Adrian David, normally close to the front of the grid for MP Motorsport, didn't quite get it right in the conditions this morning. Then Lorenzo Colombo and Richard de Gerus forming the penultimate row of the grid, and then the Hungarian racer Laszlo Tot and Nicola Marinengelai, both for Bitec, form the 9th and final row of this grid. But the real story is the championship leader Victor Martin, just continued excellence from the driver sitting in the number 92 entry for ART Grand Prix. He's stuttered slightly at the start of the championship. This is return year. He finished second overall last year, came back determined to pick up the title, but since he got through the rounds at Monza and Imola, he's just been winning almost all the way. Not off the podium in the last 7 races. That is the sort of consistent excellence you need to take a title. Last few moments, drivers not having to work so hard to get heat in their tyres as they did this morning for qualifying, when it was almost impossible to find. Victor Martin's well aware that the car 4th in the line is the one he's fighting with, the yellow and black entry from Race GP. Driver at the wheel, at the helm, Caio Collet. He's had a string of victories, but really the upper hand is starting to go to his rival by the smallest of margins. Victor Martin is pulling clear. So far, Caio Collet has 3 wins to his name. And the tally so far is 5 wins, and possibly another coming his way for Victor Martin. And for Caio Collet, the Brazilian, he has got to do everything in his power to stop that from happening. A late entry for the last few cars, the last couple of rows coming into grid position, and someone's pulled to the side of the circuit up at the back. It's one of the... It's a white car. I'm beginning to wonder if it's an ART Grand Prix car, but I think we're missing the car that is in about 15th position on the grid, which would make it Lorenzo Colombo, Adrian David. Anyhow, let's not guess. Someone is missing from the back of the grid. The waved yellow flags. That car is going to need to be pushed at some point away from the grid. We may have an aborted start. Let's not get ahead of it, but it's a long, long hold. They can't trigger the starting sequence until the flag is waved at the back. It's car number 3. Unfortunately, that's Petr Petacek. He's somehow managed to get it back round to the grid, and then it has... I don't know what has happened. There seems to be no fire in the engine. Extra formation lap. Absolutely the right choice to be taken. Very unfortunate for Petr Petacek, was due to be starting from 13th place, but clearly something went amiss. They brought it round. Now, have they got him away from the background? No, it's still sitting there. Extra formation lap. Need to shift that car. Well, it's not locked in gear, it's rolling freely, but clearly no life there. When you build a circuit, you always have to build some gaps in the pit wall for this very reason, because often the pit entry is... Well, in the case of the circuit here, it's before the final corner, so it's a long way back to get into pit in and a long way down to push it into pit exit. So thus, the gaps in the wall, also for the personnel to go through. So the race duration was supposed to be 30 minutes plus 1 further lap. It's now 28 minutes because of this extra formation lap. And clearly by the time Victor Martin brings the field around, we've already seen the unfortunate Petr Petacek have his car pushed in through the gap in the pit wall. That gap will be sealed, the gate will be closed, and then, with safety assured for everybody on both sides of the pit wall, the race will get underway when they come back round again. They'll form up on the grid to take the second attempt at the start. So strike 1 from the record. Unfortunate there for Petr Petacek. And yesterday he picked up a 15th place, that by far his worst result of the season, so he won't look back too fondly on this meeting. In fact, he's picked up a 4th place at the previous round at Zandvoort, so this really is a bit of a step backwards here. presumes no blame attached to him for the car just failing when it came around to the grid. And the thing is, it got the whole way around the lap and not far past where we're seeing Victor Martin pulling in. The car pulled to the side of the circuit, so can't really get to the bottom of why Petra is not there. They need to remove that course vehicles through the gap. 2 course vehicles. Just looking, I think we've just passed the hole of the pit wall that's been sealed back up, the gate, but hopefully that's where they'll get those course vehicles. Well, they'll follow around up towards pit exit and pull off after the start of this race. That's absolutely fine. So Victor Martin on pole, Franco Colapinto second on the grid. That's on the pit wall side. Then Paul Aron and Martin's absolute chief chaser, Caio Collet. They arrived here just 2 points apart. Now it's slightly larger, but only by 7 points, because that charge from 10th back up to second was worth its weight in gold for Caio Collet. Wave green flag at the back. The car is missing. That's Petra Petacek. The lights are coming on. When we get to 3, 5 red lights, out they will go. Then we'll get the start. Good start from Caio Collet. Brilliant start from David Vidales, the Spanish driver, from 5th on the grid. But Victor Martin looks though he's done enough to lead down to the opening corner. Looks though Caio Collet has immediately gone well past the row in front. He's got past Colapinto, he's got past Paul Aron. He's trying to sweep around the outside of Victor Martin. Surely that would be a bit too far. And unfortunately, in behind, we've got contact with cars going all over the place. And car number 20 in the mix and out of the race. Alex Quinn has caught up with 91, which is Paul Aron, who started 3rd on the grid. Look as though they're going to disentangle themselves. So, great challenge down into the opening corner after a brilliant start from 4th on the grid. Up to 2nd went Caio Collet. He's up to take a challenge at the race leader, Victor Martin, the pole man, down into the first corner, but just enough caution exerted for that move not to be attempted. For those running just outside the top 10, some of them being promoted to the top 10 by that clash between Alex Quinn and Paul Aron down at the first corner, with cars facing the wrong way. As we go on around the lap, Victor Martin starting to stretch his legs. Caio Collet going with him. Franco Colapinto trying to hang on as well. David Vidales, great start for Vidales. I thought he was going to gain more than 1 position. As it happened, he actually stayed exactly where he was, but gained a place by Paul Aron getting it wrong down at that first sequence of corners. Busy time in the middle of the pack for the metallic blue car, Tiemann van der Helm. 8th place, so he's gained ground since the start of the race. He started down in 12th, so that really was a great move for the young Dutchman. And at the side of the circuit, Gregoire Saucy, and clearly all is not right for him. That front right corner ripped out of True. He had started comfortably up the order, but unfortunately for him, over and out. Gregoire started from 8th place, but look, Victor Martin not just leading, stretching clear. His advantage must be more than a second, 1.6 seconds it is over Caio Collet, and Franco Colapinto is going with him as well. David Vidal is being pushed all over by Lorenzo Colombo. Lorenzo in number 53, the black car from Bytec, very much the flag bearer for that team. Round turn 3, the corner that just keeps on going and going round. And Kaz Havercourt up into 6th place. He's the 2nd best of the rookies, and that really is a big gain on his debut in the championship. Started 11th up to 6th, so really good run from Kaz. And interestingly, on this lap, the fastest driver through the first sector is the driver in 15th place. It's Paul Aron, started 3rd, got spun around at the first corner in the clash with Alex Quinn. They're fighting their way back up towards the tail of the field, but Paul Aron, well, maybe powered by anger as much as anything, really going faster even than his teammate Victor Martin, who's pulling clear at the front of the race. Let's take a look at the lights. Red became green. Brilliant start from the cars 4th and 5th on the grid. That was Caio Collet and David Vidales. Down to the first corner though. Collet's already passed 2 cars. He's up into 2nd place. Tucks in behind Victor Martin. Colapinto behind in the red car with the number 11 on the note. Paul Aron to the outside, just trying to see how the clash occurs. Running in 4th place. He gets pushed wide, and in behind we have other spinners, and that was unfortunately Alex Quinn and car 91, Paul Aron, who in fact clearly had lost a little bit of ground, and it was the 2nd of the ART cars that made a fair bit of progress towards the front of the race. But it's Victor Martin at the end of 2 laps of the race, 2.1 seconds clear from Caio Collet. Colapinto nearly a second back in third place, a slightly larger margin back to David Vidales, who did so well at the start. And for Paul Aron, he must just absolutely be cursing the fact that he didn't get a very good getaway, got swallowed up by the pack. That is why he was down in the middle order. And coming through, Alex Quinn, he's made it round. Looking to see if he just pulls into his pits with damage. He was one of those two cars caught up in that tangle between turns 1 and 2 on the opening lap. Now, what can Caio Collet do in the number 1 entry from Race GP? He's trying his utmost not to let Victor Martin escape, but Victor is looking supreme at this point in the race, and not by an enormous margin, but little by little he's been pulling clear. 2.1 seconds last time around, his advantage. The Frenchman, the French ace, ahead of the Brazilian ace, Caio Collet. And Caio not exactly shaken off Franco Colapinto's, always there, just under about 0.8 of a second down. But equally, David Vidales looking for a podium result at home. Car number 32, top rookie. There he is, the Spaniard, turning into turn 10. 4th place overall. He's got Lorenzo Colombo behind him. And the second of the rookies, Carlos Havercourt, in 6th place. And Hadrian David, who started down in the teens, he started 14th. Well, surreptitious he has been. He's moved up onto the tail of his teammate from MP Motorsport. That is Carlos Havercourt. So Hadrian David up from 14th to 7th. Good job. And Franco Colapinto not yet out of this battle, but look how the advantage grows at the head of the field. 2.178 seconds last time. This time is it by 2.5, 2.577. So he's gained 4/10 of a second. Victor Martin stretching his advantage in this 28-minute race. Remember, we lost one of the race laps and we had to take an extra formation lap because Petr Potacek hadn't been able to get underway. He has actually taken the start of the race. So whatever the glitch was, whether electrical or otherwise, it's been fixed in the pit lane. So he's going to go round and gain experience. Unlikely to get points starting that far down. Looks like another very, very good... Ooh, someone running wide in the background, driver behind Tiemann van der Helm. That would make it William Alatallo, who got a little bit loose. This Finnish racer running wide. Turn 5. Technical, twisty, downhill corner, drops away from entry to exit. See the main grandstand, drivers right as they drop down into the compression. Little kink at turn 6, then turn 7 and 8. Precision required, ride the curves a little, do not go too deep into the corner. You're beyond the green paint and maybe wheels into the gravel, and then it's anybody's guess. Can Caio Collet do anything about the championship leader? Such is the scoring system, he will lose another 7 points if he stays in 2nd place and Victor Martin goes on to record another win. And what was a 2-point deficit when he came here, already out to 9 points because he finished 2nd and Martin's first yesterday, and it'll be out to 16 points. And that suddenly is a whole different complexion. But let's go down and hear from one of the drivers who got caught up at the start. Brilliant start, not a good finish for Alex Quinn.
Alex, what happened?
Yeah, just really unfortunate. I think I had a really good start to turn 1 and got alongside Paul. And yeah, I had nowhere to go. I was right up on the inside of the curb and he turned in. It's unfortunate, but I guess that's racing sometimes.
It is indeed racing, and it's a very, very competitive field.
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, Victor's been quick this weekend. And then sort of the midfield's been really close. I think we had a good chance in this race. Just annoying that it ended this way, but we'll move on and be positive.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, very, very philosophical Alex Quinn there from Arden, and just as he was being interviewed, one of the sister cars, Rachad de Garouz, just ran too deep into the final corner through the gravel, and he dropped off the tail of a great little battle that includes the other Arden racer, Hugo de Wilde, fighting really hard with William Alatallo and Amaury Cordil, trying to get the final point for 10th place, and Rachad de Garouz, his chances have been slightly spiked by that little slip up at turn 16. Still kept the car straight, got it through the edge of the gravel back onto the circuit, but will be a bit of a heart-in-mouth moment. And for Potacek, the hardest name for me to say, it was a clutch problem at the start. One wondered if it was that or electrical. The fact it was fixed so quickly, are more likely to be clutch, and that's been confirmed from the pit lane. So he is going around and he's running in 16th place. If 5 more cars have problems, he's in with a sniff at a point. And then talking of sniffing for points, that's 91 gaining position. Paul Aron fighting his way back. Of course, he started 3rd on the grid, had a poor start, ended up snared and tangled and facing the wrong way with Alex Quinn. We've just heard from Alex in the pit lane, but there may yet be a point in this race for 91. Paul Aron just got past Laszlo Tot. Nicola Marinangeli has been passed, and he's going to keep picking his way forward, doing what he has to do to recover some points. Up front, though, the gap first to second, 3.6 seconds. And the best lap, well, the last lap was another second gain by Victor Martin. Well, it's an impeccable run for ART Grand Prix and Victor Martin. Caio Collet, best of the rest, as he has been all season. Not as close in terms of pace to Victor Martin. They've often been separated by hundredths of a second, but here we are today as the sun shines over the circuit de Catalunya, and it's Victor Martin all the way so far, but we still have just around 18 and a half minutes in this race until we get towards the conclusion. Great little scrapping, in fact, just exactly as Alex Quinn was describing this little battle, including one of his teammates. That's car number 27, therefore that's Ugo de Wilde. You've got William Alatalo, the white and blue car, just in front of him for JD Motorsport. Then there's Ugo, the red car with the white noseband, that's number 27, and Amaury Cordil tucked in under the rear wing of that one as well. Great little scrap. And for Richard de Garouz, he was the one we saw running through the gravel. Well, he's lost out. Because the next car up behind Amaury Cordil is Paul Aron, so he's really rocketing up the field. He'd fallen right towards the tail. He is now up into 12th place, so points could still be coming if he can find another 6 seconds in this race. And I actually reckon that Paul Aron has got the pace to do that. For Caio Collet, he's doing his utmost. He's just a few tenths down here or there, less than that on Victor Martin. But look, here comes Caio Collet round the corner, turn 16 onto the start-finish straight. 3.776 seconds was a gap earlier. What's it this time round? 3.941. Incremental gain, but continued incremental gain. And it is really looking just the most remarkable weekend for Victor Martin. A weekend of frustration and speed in between for Caio Collet, but the fact these two are the pick of the field means that they're not likely to be caught by anyone else. Franco Colapinto, though, doing a really good job in third place, just 1.6 seconds down on Caio Collet. So though Caio got past him at the start of the race, Colapinto started second, but he was already passed by the time they'd gone past pit exit. So good was the start by Caio Collet. Started fourth, up to second, but he could do nothing at all about Victor Martin, hard as he tries. Caio dipping under the strong shadow, provided we didn't have shadow yesterday, we had rain. The only thing he had under the bridge was a modicum of being saved of having rain strafing down, but today it's a fabulous autumnal day, and Victor Martin stretching his legs with every sector. In fact, the first sector of the lap, Caio Collet takes a tiny bit off him. How tiny? 0.005 of a second, the Brazilian clawed back, but when the deficit is 3.9 seconds, it's small change. And then in sector 2, every lap, in fact, this lap, 0.3 of a second gain by Victor Martin, that middle stretch of the circuit. So he's really got it tied up. Clearly must be fabulously fast up the hill to Kamsa, carrying speed wide out of the exit of the corner on the crest of the hill. And then, of course, any momentum you have there, you can carry the whole way down that infield straight down to turn number 10. Really good nose-to-tail battling, still flicking back to seeing what's happening with William Alatalo. He's not too far behind Tiemann van der Helm. Yeah, under 0.75 of a second. Then Ugo de Wilde, half a second down on him. No, just 0.4 of a second. Amaury Cordil, and look, Paul Aron will be on their tail fairly soon, one would think. Another 2 or 3 laps. But the clock continues to count down with just over a quarter of an hour to go. There is the battle of Blue Nose, number 73 of Tiemann van der Helm, and that 3-car battle. And there is Paul Aron in the background. How much does he haul that gap down to? Over the start-finish line, listed as 3.5 seconds in arrear, but he's setting very quick lap times. So disappointing, down to 12th. Well, he went down to 15th, 16th, 17th place. He's up to 12th place. Lapping very nearly at the pace of the front runners, but there he is, down at the back of the field, but coming in quickly. Paul Aron in 91. Racing for ART Grand Prix, his best result so far this season. 2nd place at the Nürburgring a while ago. Been a bit up and down in form, but his pace is clearly there. You don't qualify 3rd on a track that's very limited in grip without having great ability. So Paul Aron looking very good indeed, it must be said. Just a little mishap, perhaps not even his fault. Just sensing that Paul Aron will have a slightly... Oh, here we have an overtake coming up the inside. Car 27, Hugo de Wilde, up the inside of Amaury Cord... No, that William Alatalo slides wide. Classic. Yes, I've passed you. No, you haven't. I've got the braking done. You haven't. And William Alatalo holds on to that 9th place. But their machinations in front. They've dropped Amaury Cordial a little bit. He's going to be now the duck that is sitting there awaiting for attack from Paul Aron. All closing in fairly fast. Not yet in the top 10 points, only for the top 10 finishers from 25 points for victory, 18 for second, 15 for third, all the way down to 1 point for 10th place. And at the moment, that point is in the hands of Hugo de Wilde. Oh, masterclass from Victor Martin. He's just taken another 4 and a bit tenths out of Caio Collet. He's now 4.9 seconds to the good in the lead of the race. And Franco Colapinto is matching Caio Collet literally thousandths of a second for thousandths of a second. The gap between them is fluctuating between 1.5 and 1.6 seconds. So slightly frustrating for Colapinto, but it really shows his form has come back to him as we pass the midpoint in this season. And a slight dip in form, and it's definitely coming back for the driver for MP Motorsport. This little battle between 38 William Alatalo for JD Motorsport and Hugo de Wilde 27 Arden is still proving a huge amount of fun. And Hugo de Wilde has got Amaury Cordial tucked in behind. Paul Aron just over 2 seconds down behind them. He'll be with them soon. There he goes, flashing into the image there. Bottom of the screen, the black and white livery, largely white with black markings of ART Grand Prix. When the racing is as close as this for these young drivers, they are learning so many lessons, where to try things, definitely where not to try things, how to try things, try inside, try outside, and in the final technical part of the circuit, where not to make an attacking move at all, because if it's not going to be on, and when you've tried it, you'll get to probably lose a place or two, or even end up spinning off. Down into the chicane they go, turns 14 and 15, almost impossible to pass there. There's certainly been cars with suspension sticking out the side. Those are called single-seaters. You do not want to be offering those up for potential collision. Maybe a more robust touring car or a GT might have a consideration into the chicane. Driver at the front of that group in the bright yellow car is Hadrian David. Started down in 14th. I expected him to climb up the field, but he's got as far as 7th and he's stuck there. He's 2 seconds down on Kaz Havercourt. Kaz has really impressed this weekend. Joins the championship with the same team, MP Motorsport. And started, not at the sharp end of the grid, started 11th, he's running 6th. So in his own right, he gained 3 of those positions, and 2 were handed him. Alex Quinn going for that spin, and unfortunately for Paul Aron, he was also caught up between turns 1 and 2 on the opening lap, and that's why those ones were freebies, but still, Kaz Havercourt gained 3 of those places on his own, so that is a very, very positive start to his career in the Eurocup. Drivers so neat and tidy through turn 7 and turn 8. In these single-seaters, they really get rattled about if you're too rough with them over the curbs, and these drivers taking very, very clean lines accordingly. Victor Martin, 5.2 seconds to good at the lead of the race. That great little scrap, Colombo against Kaz Havercourt, though Kaz has definitely been catching the Italian Colombo, so the Dutch youngster really, really looking impressive. The battle behind still stays as it was. This is the battle between William Alatalo in 9th place, car number 10, that's Hugo de Wilde in 10th. He holds the final point, starting to drop Amaury Cordial all over again. Amaury been a bit closer last time around. And what was a 4/10 of a second gap goes out to 1.3 seconds, so that's why Cordial is falling away. He's falling back. Has he been spotted? Most certainly has by Paul Aron, because he wants, well, the last point at the very least, and he's closed from, he was 2 and a bit seconds down, but the last lap, Paul Aron gained half a second and more, nearly 6/10, 7/10 of a second of Amaury Cordial. So I think we could have a change of position within the next couple of laps for Paul Aron. Oh, look, down it came, 0.63 of a second last time, 0.45 before. Wow, looking there at a shift of 2.3 seconds in the space of 3 laps. That is impressive. And here comes Paul Aron, car number 91. down the slope out of turn 5, kinking left through turn 6, taking a look at the back of the paddock. Not really, just looking towards it as they go to turn 7, all eyes on the turning point. Turning too late and you really do find a face full of gravel trap. 7, 8 over the crest of the hill at Capsa at 9. Puff coming up from the back of Paul Aron's car at the back of the field there, not the back of the field, the back of this pack. He's running in 12th place. Amaury Cordial is in 11th. Then he's got to go off after Hugo de Wilde, who holds. Well, let's go down to the paddock and find out some news of what's happening down there in the pit lane.
Matthew, we've seen Paul had contact early on, but he certainly seems to have pulled back the pace and he's climbing up nicely through the field.
Yeah, it's honestly it's a shame because he did a really good job this morning in quali. And each time he's in good position in race, as Zandvoort, for example, with the mechanic issue we had. At the moment, he's still the same with the contact, but the pace is good. I hope he will get some points, to be honest. I don't know, of course, but he's working on that.
Thank you very much.
So catching up on the progress of Paul Aron, he's done the hard bit. Well, he thought he's done the hard, but he's got onto the tail of the train that runs effectively from Timon van der Helm in 8th place all the way down to Paul Aron in 12th. Catching is one thing, passing is quite another. But of all the cars ahead of him, he should be the driver in the quickest car. We saw that as soon as he started going from the back of the field, he was setting really, really quick times. He qualified 3rd, so the pace is there. But the track is almost light years away from where it was when they went qualifying. Limited grip, very, very cold track this morning. And that was where he used his expertise. But now everybody's got far more grip to play with. Grip to give them confidence. And this is what's really helping them. And a driver who's really making the most of that grip is Adrian David, all over the tail of Kaz Havercourt. As we mentioned, Kaz joined the championship this weekend. He's looking in his mirrors. Where is the bright yellow nose of Adrian David? But for the moment, car 53, that's Lorenzo Colombo, sorry, with, oh, dearie me, Lorenzo looked in his mirrors just too long down to turn 10. Well, that was a real gain for all those in behind. And he comes back out just ahead of William Alatalo there by the looks of things. Hugo de Wilde. So that was a bit of a shake of the order. A passing move without any assistance there. Car 53 suddenly just getting it slightly wrong. So a little unfortunate there. He had been running 5th. Lorenzo Colombo. No change of the order at the very front of the field, though. It's still Victor Martin, 6.4 seconds to good over Caio Collet in 2nd place. Franco Colapinto now closer, just over a second down on Caio Collet. Could there be a late change in the race? And now we're getting overtaken down the start-finish straight because the shuffling of the order, and William Alatalo gains a position. And unfortunately for Lorenzo Colombo, he crossed the line in 8th place. He's now down to 9th. Hugo de Wilde should be next to go past it. He's still holding the point for 10. Fancies more for Colombo. He's lost 4 places in the space of half a lap. Been a cruel lap for him. One little slip up all on his own down into turn 10. Just braked too late by the smallest of margins. Amaury Cordial not yet in the points. He's running 11th in car 71. Paul Aron still down in 12th, but right with him now. And Aron, the clock is running down though. Maybe he's left it just too late. We heard from his team. Might have left it just too late to make a move into the points. He's trying, but I'd say those ahead of him are getting more and more confident and quicker as the race runs toward its conclusion. Yeah, Paul Aron just off the back of that pack. I'm not sure he is going to get that point after all. It may well be 91 on Paul Aron, the back of that queue of cars, not yet onto the tail of it. Maybe he pushed so hard, angered by being spun round in the first corner of the race, that he used his tyres a little too much too soon. That enabled him to catch up, and now he might be struggling for tyre life. Or maybe he's just biding his time because he's closing in. He can see that 3-car grouping right in front of him. Amaury Cordial is his first target, Hugo de Wilde the second, and William Alatalo the third. But the way Lorenzo Colombo has been falling back into that pack, he is in the mix too. There he is. Ooh, very late turn in to the chicane for Colombo, holding on to that 8th, maybe 9th spot now. Let's see when they cross the start-finish line. Yeah, Lorenzo Colombo is 9th. William Alatalo had got past him. That's what I thought had happened. Hugo de Wilde still holding on to 10th by 1/4 of a second from Amaury Cordial. Hugo de Wilde 27, looking in his mirrors, looking one way, and then as he looked to the driver's left, down the driver's right, up the inside, bound to be contact. Yes, there was. He wasn't up the inside enough to make that move, unfortunately. And so suddenly Paul Aron has the point. Unfortunate there for Hugo de Wilde. That was a little unkind. he had to turn into the corner at some point. We've got cars in the pits, just trying to see who's dived in there. Petro Petacek, Nicola Marinangeli. Is that Marinangeli coming in? Anyhow, it's certainly not Victor Martin leading the race. Let's take a look at the replay. 27, he's looking down into his mirrors one way. He looks across and then diving up the inside and half a car length behind. Hugo de Wilde turns into the corner, had to at some point. See the angle from the back, it might look slightly different, but Amaury Cordil having a clash with him there. And Hugo de Wilde out of the car. The car's in a dangerous place. The safety car comes out. So this is an opportunity for Caio Collet. Victor Martin was sitting on a lead of, well, just around 7 seconds. That behind the safety car will come down to nothing. And when we get a restart, we might have time for one racing lap at a squeeze, a second racing lap. I think we may just get two. We'll see how quickly they pick up the field. But Victor Martin, his lead will have dissipated from, let's call it 7 seconds, down to nothing. And for Caio Collet, hasn't been in with a sniff since he got away from 4th on the grid up to 2nd, but thereafter it's been Victor Martin pulling ever further clear at the front of the field. These are the two drivers fighting for the championship, and suddenly for Caio Collet, possibly there is a gift on a Sunday. Let us see. Safety car with, well, it effectively was called with 3.5 minutes to go. And it's going to take a short while, well, maybe a long while, to get Hugo de Wilde's car moved out of that position. They're just passing it now. It's halfway between turn 1 and 2. It's already being, they've got the rope to lift it up and carry it away from that position to make it safe down into turn 1. And don't forget, the cars approach turn 1 at maximum speed down that sloping start-finish straight. So you do not want a car sitting in the gravel up ahead. So for Victor Martin, it's about keeping a cool head. For Caio Collet, it's about thinking, what can I do? How hard can I push on the restart? They've got plenty of heat in their tyres. Push as hard as you want. But look, there is our championship leader. Right behind the yellow nose of number 1. That is the championship chaser. And Franco Colapinto, well, he still fancies his chance. And for Hugo de Wilde, well, huge disappointment. And he had a good run yesterday. And will be very frustrated. 3rd place yesterday, that's the good side of the coin. His best result of the season by 4 places. And today, unfortunately, Gregoire Saucy thought he saw a gap, and I don't think there necessarily was a gap. And for Hugo de Wilde at that point, he would have seen it come up the inside, but already he'd committed to the corner, and the clash was inevitable, unfortunately. So Gregoire Saucy out of the race, and Hugo de Wilde, the assaulted, out of the race as well. That means Paul Aron does get up into the points, and on the restart he's going to have a crack at Lorenzo Colombo, so could yet actually gather a few more points in this race than he would have suspected. The points allocation in the Formula Renault Eurocup is 25 points for a win in the FIA style, 18 for 2nd, 15 for 3rd. If Caio Collet can get into the lead of this race, he started this race 9 points down, and if he can get in and win this race, then he'll only be 2 points down, which will make the gap between him and championship leader Victor Martin exactly the same as it was when they arrived here in Barcelona. There's been a lot of qualifying, a lot of racing since, on a track that keeps on changing, in weather that keeps on changing. And as you can see, as Hugo de Wilde's car is lifted out of the way down beyond the gravel bed at turn 1. Beautiful, beautiful weather conditions. A look at the top clock at the top of the screen. We're almost at the end of the race, one further lap beyond this one. And I think the cars are going to be released at the end of this lap to have one racing lap to the finish of this race. Renault safety car leading them round, the Megane RS. So each championship has its own pace car. The Megane RS leading the field around there, and in behind, Victor Martin started on pole. Astonishingly good pole position lap in tricky conditions this morning. 0.3 of a second to the good over Franco Colapinto. Colapinto, though, got jumped at the start by Caio Collet. He started 2nd and was 4th by the time he got to the first corner. Collet was 4th up to 2nd. Since then, that has remained the order. Martin, Collet, Colapinto. Best of the rest, David Vidales, a Spaniard at home. David, the top rookie in this race, in 4th place overall. But the safety car is in this lap. We will have one final racing lap to the conclusion. Oh, think about it. Of course, the driver who can dictate the pace of when they get going once the safety car is withdrawn is the driver in the pole position. He started from pole position. It's Victor Martin at the front of the run, but of course he would have an advantage as they go down towards turn 1, which is still by far the best overtaking position on this circuit. And if Collet doesn't somehow have a remarkable run down, use a great toe to turn 1, it'll be the corner they're approaching now. Turn 10 will be the next real opportunity. I think effectively he's got 2 chances in this race, but I also think Victor Martin is way too canny and to leave a gap going down into either of those corners. And what he's done, Martin knows the safety car is in this lap. He backs it off. In fact, Caio Collet nearly collected the back of his car when they got down to turn 10. Bit more heat in the tyres, bit more heat in the tyres. Wait the moment, go around the corner, doesn't want to see them again, it's out of his way. No overtaking before the start-finish line. And now he goes. Floors it just before turn 13, a fairly traditional place. Down, hoping to eke out a car's length advantage extra over Caio Collet for the chicane, safely through the chicane, and already he's broken the toe. There isn't a chance that Caio Collet's going to get him down into turn 1. There's more of a chance that Colapinto in third place will get more of a toe off Collet and maybe try and make a move down into turn 1. No, Collet has done enough, and in fact he's had very good exit speed through that final corner onto the start-finish straight, and if anything is actually now almost close enough to pick up a little bit of a toe, but he hasn't got close enough to make a move down on this, the start of the final lap. The second of the 2 races here for the Formula Renault Eurocup at Barcelona. Yesterday was grey and drizzly. Didn't matter for Victor Martin, he took victory in that. Yesterday, Caio Collet started in second position, was 10th after a terrible start, but fought his way back to second. His only chance now is to be tidy through this long corner, turn 3. Got to absolutely nail the exit down the short straight to turn 4, double back. And then to this corner here, turn 5, they come down the slope, and he's not close enough to be able to make a move. Surely he got to be under the rear wing as they go up the hill. He's not close enough, because a brilliant restart lap from Victor Martin, because here we go, turn 7, turn 8 as they snake their way up the hill. In behind and much closer, but Martin has done everything he possibly can. He looks in his mirrors as he goes up to cancel. Yes, I've got enough of an advantage. He surely won't be able to get close enough to make a challenge down into turn 10. That was the most likely place to be deposed, and look at the advantage the Frenchman has got down the straight. They go at the back, almost a second clear. Colapinto, having a little look, the Argentinian. That could have been an Argentinian assaulting Brazilian in a South American scramble, but Colapinto just deciding discretion is the better part of valour. Tucks back into third place, and now it's just a simple run for Victor Martin. Been brilliant all weekend. And you have to say, surely, even though it's still so tight on points with Caio Collet, as long as there are no disasters, the form that Victor Martin is having in his second season in this championship is fantastic. And look, here we go, just how he can lift off the throttle now and still win this race. That was a remarkable restart lap. 1.5 seconds he pulled clear as he went into victory. And the top rookie, as they all come streaming through, is David Vidales. Didn't get on the podium, but 4th overall. Very good result. You can see the white nose of car number 32. That's from JD Motorsport. So the Spaniard takes the top rookie honours here. Caio Collet gave it his best shot, but it simply wasn't enough, because today the master of proceedings was the driver of car number 92 for ART Grand Prix. It was Victor Martin. He did exactly what was required of him. The others had a sniff with the fact there was going to be a restart with just 1 lap to go, but when the questions were asked, there was nobody who could answer them in a way that found a way to topple Victor Martin. So a great result for him. 2 wins this weekend, and he's made it look imperiously easy. Both races he started from pole position, the best place on this circuit, but he didn't put a wheel wrong. Just for reference, we were talking about Paul Aron getting the final point. I thought he might squeak another on the final lap, but he doesn't. He comes home in that 10th place. Couldn't quite depose Lorenzo Colombo. But for Victor Martin, another job done supremely well. And mentioned there Kaz Havercourt, he managed to pick up a position. I'm trying to work out who lost one on that final lap in the sorter. Kaz went up to 5th place, David to 6th. So they were 2nd and 3rd in the rookie class. But David Vidales ruled that route. But overall, it was Victor Martin. 1.5 seconds. An amazing restart from him. Caio Collet, his eternal championship challenger, in that 2nd place. So that was a gain for him, because he'd started in 4th. Franco Colapinto started 2nd, went down to 3rd. Top of the rookies, the Spaniard at home, David Vidales, and Kaz Havercourt making really a splash on his championship debut, just ahead of Hadrian David. And then Timon van der Helm, Dutch racer, in 7th. William Alatalo, another of the rookies, in 8th. And completing the top 10, Lorenzo Colombo and Paul Aron, who fought his way back from stone last after that first corner clash, up to take the final point in 10th place overall. So 6 rookies in the top 10, no one getting close to Victor Martin. The margin would have been so much greater had there not been the safety car. He did what he had to do, and he did it very, very well indeed. And at the end, we had 13 finishers and a few tumblers. We lost Nicola Marinangel. I saw him pull into the pits. Alex Quinn caught out in that first corner incident. Gregoire Saucy, of course, he was the assailant down against Hugo de Wilde that triggered that late safety car period. But conditions perfect, racing hugely entertaining, nose to tail stuff, with the exception of Victor Martin, who just kept pulling ever further clear. So that is really quite a championship tally he's going. But still, by dint of finishing in second place, that was the most that Caio Collet can do today. And sometimes you have to accept you don't have a handle on the circuits the same extent as your championship rival does. The least you can do is just finish in second place, which is exactly what Caio did today. Didn't have to fight back for 10th as he did yesterday after his dreadful, dreadful start. And the applause ringing out down there for our race winner. Victor Martin savouring his time in the cockpit. Franco Colapinto already out of his car. He finished third, so that's his a decent weekend's return for him. Here, a 6th place yesterday, a 3rd today. But yes, now starting to believe even more for Victor Martin. He has to win the title. He came 2nd in it last year. He's doing exactly what he was looking to do. So it's been a good weekend. And it is a remarkable run for Victor Martin. That makes it 6 wins in 8 races for him. After the first 2 rounds didn't produce a win. First 4 races produced a 2nd, 2 fourths and a 10th. But since then, he's not been off the podium. And on 6 of them, he has taken the golden trophy for the race winner. And it now seems that yesterday was very much another day. Yesterday cold, drizzly, but today temperature rising all the time. And the drivers would have relished having some proper grip from the circuit in this afternoon's race. Maybe indeed that's why the racing was so close, so tight, all the way down through the top 10, but nobody able to get close enough to Victor Martin. He really was supreme here in Barcelona. And for these drivers, they know next time out, they go to an entirely different circuit. They go to Spa-Francorchamps on the support programme. They've got a race on the Friday, the 23rd of September, another on the Saturday. Then, if they're wise, they'll sit back and watch the Spa 24 hours. Then they don't get a weekend off. Next time out, it's Imola the following weekend for 2 races. The weekend after that, they head to Hockenheim. And then the finale the weekend after that at Paul Ricard. These are very, very busy young drivers. But the best thing when your tail is up, when you've got the momentum, is to keep on racing. And for Victor Martin, well, that's precisely what he's enjoying at the moment. What a season he's having. So advantage stretching all the time. He was 2 points to the good. He's now 16 points clear. And let's go down and hear from the driver who's leading the championship. He's won the race. His name is Victor Martin. He races for ART Grand Prix. Remember him.
Victor, the 2nd race, you've had pole position, you've won the race and fastest lap once again. Congratulations.
Thank you. I love Barcelona. It's just amazing. Again, the car was just perfect. I just had to take lap by lap, just focus on my driving, and yeah, we take the win again. I think we are just getting stronger and stronger every weekend. We are not going to let anything to anybody.
Does the championship feel within grasp?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's just we keep going like this, and we will get there. I mean, it's just a consistent work, and it's what we are doing, just all together with my teammates. And yeah, we are there again. So yeah. Good job. Congratulations. Well done. Great work. Thank you.
And Caio Collet standing by, 2nd place once again. Caio, just really difficult to get the pace, of course, with Victor there running away with it.
Yeah, I think this weekend we were struggling, especially in the dry. We didn't have a pace to match Victor. But anyway, we come away with 2 second places, which is not bad. But I mean, when he's winning all the races, of course, it doesn't feel really good. But we need to keep working, work harder than what we did today, and let's see what we can do in Spa.
Thank you very much. Well done. And finally, 3rd place, Franco Colapinto. Let's just pull him in here onto the podium. 3rd place. Are you happy with that result, Franco?
Yeah, I mean, another podium, quite happy with that, but we had a good pace. I think at least we were, the maximum was P2, I think, but we could get that with a few more laps, and the safety car, I think, stopped me from getting Caio, because I was much weaker in that part of the race, but yeah, happy. I think the race pace was really good. Just my start wasn't great. I had a lot of wheel spin, so I lost a position, but yeah, anyway, it was a good race. The pace was really, really good, so thanks to the team for the great car for this race too. So yeah, happy with that, and now let's go for Spa for more podiums.
Keep fighting. Thank you very much. Well done.
So, third place overall, Franco Colapinto gets the podium here. He gets the junior step, if you will, Argentinian for MP Motorsport.
Segunda posición de second place, la deuxième place para Caio Collet.
So Caio Collet second again today, still in that championship battle, but the form that has been discovered by Victor Martin over the last 4 meetings is looking ominous. So there he is, going up onto the top step, the big box, transported from circuit to circuit. Fist bump for his rivals. And top rookie, the Spaniard David Vidales, 4th place overall. Good run for him.
Víctor Martins, vamos a escuchar el himno de Francia. Oh, Damien Guitro. Merci, le team del représentant. Sorry. Ok, merci, félicitations pour Victor Martins. Nos faltaba Damien.
So as the strains of the national anthem, the Marseillaise for French winner Victor Martin fades away. It's time for them to raise their trophies. Pose for the photographers and they can clear the podium now, but faces, some of these drivers are going to go all the way to the top of the sport. The big question is which one will do that, or which two will do that. Victor Martin is really staking his claim though. Champagne! So now they can get their overalls wet. They got them wet without trying yesterday because it was raining, but champagne is the order of the day here on a sunny afternoon at the Circuit de Catalunya, just to the north of Barcelona. And I think that tastes extra sweet for Victor Martin and his crew at ART Grand Prix. They got the car, gave him the car. It was a great car, but Victor Martin did the rest, and I think he's got more bullets in that gun for the rest of the season. He's looking super, super strong in the Formula Renault Series. Let's take a look at the start of the race. Victor Martin, good getaway from pole position. Brilliant start from 4th on the grid and 5th on the grid. Caio Collet and David Vidales, but look, 2nd place by the opening corner. Looking around the outside, tried Caio Collet. Not a hope he'd make that stick, so he tucked in behind, and in behind them, that's where the trouble was. Cars spinning, cars clashing. Alex Quinn in the mix and out of the race. Paul Aron, 91, got his car pointing the right direction and got it going all over again, then picked his way up the order. Made it look easy, then it got harder further up. Reshad de Garouz running a little too hard through the final corner. A big dusty moment, recovered the circuit. For Nicola Marinangeli, unfortunately, had to retire. But one of the best battles was just the tail of the top 10. Thick of it was Hugo de Wilde, car 27, and Amaury Cordeel in behind him. And then we had some moments with, unfortunately, Lorenzo Colombo just losing a little battle with Adrian David, and then down into turn 1. It was always exciting. William Alatalo just holding on from Lorenzo Colombo there. Car 27 always in the mix, Hugo de Wilde, and he suddenly got a lot of pressure from behind him, and this is a moment where it all came undone. Gregoire Saucy dived down the inside, it didn't work, off into the gravel went the unfortunate Hugo de Wilde. Also out of the race went Gregoire Saucy, front suspension out of the way. There was a restart after the car was recovered, and that was controlled beautifully by Victor Martin, chased hard by Caio Collet, but Collet had to watch for attacks from behind by Colapinto. But it was all the way victory for Victor Martin. 2nd place Collet, 3rd place Colapinto. Another job very well done.